right. So I'm recording, but interesting. I think you guys missed the beginning of the show. You might have to catch the beginning on rebroadcast. Thanks for staying in the chat room. That was really interesting because for some reason there's like a new button on OBS that said usually it's just start broadcast, but now it was start broadcast and then go live. I don't know if you guys have had to deal with any of that, but let me know in the chat. But if you're just tuning in, this is Christian Coffins. Today is January 29th, 2025, and Trump is sending them the Gitmo. That's 30,000 beds over at Guantanamo Bay for all the illegal aliens with criminal records. Moving forward, see what's next here. Ah, right. JD Vance. Apparently, us in the South are, yep, OBS haven't updated in a while because of stuff like that. Yep, that was new. Geesh. What can you do? So, yeah, you'll catch the first, like 15 minutes of the show on the rebroadcast over at rumble.com/DarkDox and bitshoot.com/DarkDox. Let's see what
FEMA has specialized expertise that some of these states just don't have.
Oh,
and
Margaret,
in their arsenal. And
I wish
how
that they
will states who are lower income states, the Mississippis, the Kentuckys, the Alabamas, be able to do this for themselves without federal help?
Well, the president, to be clear, is not saying we're going to leave anybody behind. He's saying that in the way that we administer these resources, some of which is coming from the federal level, some of which is coming from the state level, we've got to get the bureaucrats out of the way and get the aid to the people who need it most.
But these are the
yeah, we're a bunch of crackers down here in the South, and well, we just don't know how to do it. What button do I press to make me teleport over here? Oh, there it is. That's the button for the teleportation. So yeah, that's enough of Trump and JD Vance. Let's get into RFK Jr. There was a lot of explosive stuff happening over there on the Capitol. RFK Jr. grilled on his views on vaccines and abortion in first confirmation hearings. Kennedy, Trump's nominee for the Health and Human Services Secretary, also stumbled under questioning from the GOP senator on Medicaid. So they were trying to float this lie that Trump stopped funding for Medicaid when he stopped all of the funding for all these nonprofit organizations that are, to send condoms to Gaza and to make explosives or whatever the fuck they're doing. But it's completely not true. Medicaid is still going, and it has nothing to do with that, and we're going to get into that in a second. But here's the beginning of this.
Biden and members of this distinguished committee, I'm humbled to be sitting here today as President Trump's nominee to oversee the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I want to thank President Trump for entrusting me to deliver on his promise to make America healthy again. I also want to thank Cheryl and Kik and Bobby and all of my other children who are here today and all the many members of my large extended family for the...
So if you're not aware, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the son of Robert F. Kennedy and the nephew of John F. Kennedy Jr. And so the CIA, who Trump is, releasing all of the documents on the assassinations of JFK and RFK, and it's going to be and MLK as well. But yeah, this is his wife, Cheryl. She's actually in Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David's wife in the show. But in real life, she's married to RFK Jr. Fun fact if you didn't realize that. And I gotta say, his voice is getting better. Good for him. And, he's in great shape for his age. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. But yeah, they gave him the business today. You'll see.
Love that they have so generously shared. Ours has always been a family that has been involved in public service, and I look forward to continuing that tradition. My journey into the issue of health began with my career as an environmental attorney, working with hunters and fishermen and mothers in the small town in the Hudson Valley and along the Hudson River. I learned very early on that human health and environmental injuries are intertwined. The same chemicals that kill fish make people sick also. Today, Americans' overall health is in grievous condition. Over 70% of adults and a third of children are overweight or obese. Diabetes is 10 times more prevalent than it was during the 1960s. Cancer among young people is rising by 1 or 2% a year. Autoimmune diseases, neurodevelopmental disorders, Alzheimer's, asthma, ADHD, depression, addiction, and a host of other physical and mental health conditions are all on the rise, some of them exponentially. The United States has worse health than any other developed nation, yet we spend more on healthcare, at least double, and in some cases triple, as other countries. Last year, we spent $4.8 trillion, not counting the indirect costs of missed work. That's almost a fifth of GDP. It's tantamount to a 20% tax on the entire economy. No wonder America has trouble competing with countries that pay a third of what we do for health and have better outcomes and a healthier workforce. But I don't want to make this too much about money. It's the human tragedy that moves us to care. President Trump has promised to restore America's global strength and to restore the American dream, but he understands we can't be a strong nation.
So that's a full 8 minute. That's like the first 2.5 minutes of that from NBC News. I thought that was a good full kind of introduction for his, because what he's saying is really important. And I could keep going. But here's what some of these unhinged crazies had to say about this. That's so annoying.
Stake that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits, so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue pharmaceutical companies. You are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country.
Yeah, that was from AJ. And, yeah. So, multiple protesters interrupt RFK Jr.'s confirmation hearing as well. Why you don't have audio, bro? That's weird. Let's refresh this page. Weird. Why is I was trying to get a clip of some of that audio because it's kind of hard to make out what they were saying because they were wearing a mask while trying to say something on TV. Why can't I play this? Hold on. I'm sorry, I can't just let this go. What is going on here? It's just that video from the New York Post. Should subscribe to them. All right, I'm gonna try to open this on another browser because I'm not believing this. I just watched this video. That's why I'm like, what's going on here? Let's do Edge. I never used this thing. Microsoft Edge. Okay. No, over on that screen. Thank you. Oh, no, I'm not going to say use the default, idiot. You're not a good browser. No thanks.
Before I conclude, I want to make sure the committee is clear about a few things. News reports have claimed that I'm anti-vaccine or anti-industry. I am neither. I am pro-safety.
We'll have order. Please proceed, Mr. Kennedy.
I don't want to. I want to emphasize
Mr. Kennedy, the facts. The facts.
It's always some white chick. Am I right?
Hold on for a second, Mr. Kennedy. To the audience. Comments from the audience are inappropriate and out of order.
You tell him, Mr.
And if there
Crapo.
are any further disruptions, the committee will recess until the police can restore order. Please follow the rules of the committee. Mr. Kennedy, you may proceed.
No offense. But if you still think
So, I
that
mean,
driving food around
I
is the
don't know
best way
why
to
that
make money in
wasn't
today's...
playing on the other one. Let's see if I'm having problems with other videos. That'd be really annoying if I have to re-tab everything. All right, let's see. Actually, I'm going to bring that back up as a backdrop. Okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring me back up. And I'm going to bring in, Greg Fernandez Jr. And he recorded some voicemails. So we're going to listen to those now. That's how we roll here. I'm going to go to my soundboard.
So when the lead Democrat introduced a letter from Kennedy's cousin, Caroline, daughter of President Kennedy, Kennedy should have ripped off his shirt and said, "Oh yeah, check out these muscles, sir," because she was challenging his physical fitness, saying he's not physically capable to handle this job. And if you've seen Kennedy's guns, if you've seen his physical fitness routine, you can see he is more than qualified, sir. Now, regarding the second heckler, you could see one of Kennedy's family members shouting back at the dummy. Kennedy is doing great, even with the voice issues. This is a very pro-Kennedy audience. When the senator, the Democrat senator, of course, said he was trying to be fair to Kennedy, the crowd erupted with laughter. Kennedy pledged to work with that senator from Rhode Island, but the senator didn't believe him because he's seen similar promises made and broken. But Kennedy will be different, sir. Just you watch. Now here's one of my favorite quotes from the whole hearing today. Quote, "Farm country is Trump country." That's what Kennedy said during today's hearing. Farmers love Kennedy and farmers love Trump. That is definitely for sure. Check out Farmers to Forks, which is a great concept, and I hope Kennedy can expand on that. This concept goes, we go directly from the farmers to the people. What a concept, and we can do that locally. Even with the big chains, even with these big stores that we have next to us, they can still make this happen. Farmers to forks. It can be done. And how about farmers to schools? That can be done too. Now, Kennedy also thinks that the Medicaid is a necessary program, but it's not working the way it was intended. It's not being managed correctly, and he can change that. Senator Lujan keeps on about the Medicaid, and he is oblivious to the fact that it is not working. Lujan loves it. Senator Lujan, a Democrat, of course, And he loves it. He doesn't seem to believe that reform is needed. He's only concerned that HHS may put a spotlight on Medicaid and how to make it great again. Kennedy can make it great again. Medicaid and Medicare, Kennedy wants to figure out a way to combine those. And it's not Kennedy doing this. He is going to put the right people in the right spot, put them all into a room so that we can figure this thing out. That's what a good boss does. Now, as they take a break, cheers for Kennedy breakout. We love you, Bobby. And yes, we certainly do. Kennedy destroys Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota, and Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock got upset because Kennedy was filibustering, according to him. He was not answering yes or no, not answering the way that they want Kennedy to answer. They take a complicated question and they want him to simply answer yes or no. These are gotcha questions. Gotcha questions. Well, you got something here. You got somebody who is going to make America healthy again. Also, make sure that you check out what Senator Peter Welch brings up, and he quotes Kennedy's cousin, Caroline, but he seems like a more respectful, sincere guy. Welch actually gives Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed, which is very controversial, especially in some circles. And then, but also the senator has some concerns about Kennedy disagreeing with Trump on Operation Warp Speed. But isn't that what we want? We don't want Kennedy to just be a yes man to Trump. Right. The senators, the Democrat senators, that's their biggest fear, is that Kennedy is just going to do whatever Trump says. Senator Peter Welch actually brings this up and is like, he's concerned that Trump is saying one thing about Operation Warp Speed and Kennedy is saying something completely different. But isn't that what we want? This is why Kennedy is perfect for this role. Kennedy can give Trump a different perspective. Trump likes to be challenged. Trump doesn't like people who kiss his butt. President Trump needs to hear different viewpoints. He thrives on it. He is a good businessman. He's a developer. He gets everyone in the room for a roundtable discussion, like the one we saw leading in California. This is just like someone who is leading a board meeting. You get everybody into a room. And then, this is a think tank. And then Trump goes around the room and hears everyone's views. Trump demonstrated this recently during a roundtable discussion in California with the mayor of LA and the California politicians. He listened, he spoke, he challenged them when needed. The result was California politicians got off their butt and began to do the right thing. Release the water and let the people back in their homes. And guess what? That is now being done. Thanks to Trump.
Thank you. That was the last one, right? Yeah. That was an exclusive from Greg Fernandez Jr. And they're still playing.
Privilege be confirmed. That's exactly what I'll do.
You're rearranging deck chairs.
Rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic was a great quote from the RFK stuff today. I'll save this for end of the show because that's hilarious. So those of you that don't know Greg Fernandez Jr., he has done a lot of cool stuff. I'm actually working on a book for him right now. He's writing a book, and I'm working on the artwork called Kennedy and Trump. He's been working on for quite a while, and he's written books like 9/11, on 9/11, and also on this topic, which we're going to do a special show on. I've been on his podcast about this, called Gray Stage. But Minnesota father who allegedly killed family and murder-suicide left reference to wife's Muslim face written on her own blood police. This is, of course, back from January 17, 2016. It is the belief of everyone who's been researching this on Greg's team, which is quite large, I'd say, for investigating this. Myself also, that this guy's innocent, and he didn't kill his wife, he didn't kill his daughter. There was a Wet Works team probably went in there and killed him and his family because he was working on this film called Gray State, and Netflix even made a documentary called A Gray State, which Greg is featured in, and it's a total hit piece and on the David Crowley family. But you can definitely check out on YouTube The Gray Stage that has videos after videos after videos. Some of these 4 hours long, 40 minutes, 2 hours long, and it just goes on and on. There's so much information on this topic that they have compiled. So definitely check out The Gray Stage. And we're going to be doing a David Crowley show pretty soon. So keep an eye on. We're doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is DarkDox Digest. And you can find it at youtube.com/Sacred Owls. Please smash that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, because we're shadow banned and no one sees these videos unless they're really trying to look for them. But yet, I'm here live right now on this Wednesday, January 29th. Some news that you didn't hear about unless you were paying attention to Infowars, because they buried the story. Ex-U.S. Senator Bob Menendez jailed for 11 years for bribery. Former New Jersey senator, because he's a Democrat, no one covered this. If he was a Republican, this would have been top of the news hour. This is the stiffest sentence for a public servant in American history. Has been sentenced to 11 years in prison following his conviction on bribery and corruption charges. Last July, a jury found Menendez guilty on 16 counts for accepting gifts, including gold bars, cash, and a Mercedes-Benz in exchange for helping foreign governments. Give this guy the death penalty? That's treason. Link in description. Obesity drugs. A huge study identifies new health risks. This one's about Ozempic. Blockbuster obesity drugs such as Ozempic have been celebrated for their ability to promote weight loss and treat a surprise range of other conditions, from heart problems to Parkinson's disease. Now an analysis of data from nearly 2 million people is revealing insights into the effects of these medications, including the risks they pose. That's why Alex Jones isn't taking that. He's taking the ultimate CMOS at thealexjonesstore.com/DarkDox. We get 10%. This came up during the RFK hearings, and I bookmarked it. This is from the CDC. Vaccine-Derived Poliovirus. That's right. You can get polio from the vaccine. But no, they're safe and effective! If you like what we do, please go to darkdox.me/shop and buy a shirt. Buy a thumb drive with all of these podcasts and audiobooks and declassified federal documents. Buy a projector with an SD card or an MP4 player where you can watch these on the go and you don't need the internet. When they kill us all and take the internet away from us, you will still have these devices as long as they can hold the charge and you have a solar charger. We still have Trump buttons. If you're interested in getting some Trump buttons, we got vinyl, we got t-shirts, we got DVDs. I'm working on some new art. We got comic books. We got shop rags. So please, buy something. I make this all myself. That's me. That's me right there holding the guitar at the Bohemian Grove, destroying the owl. That really happened. And yes, thealexjonesstore.com/DarkDox. We get 10% if you buy anything. And to show you that I'm not full of shit, this is my shelf in my bathroom, and I'm on the Brain Force. I take about like a quarter dropper a day, and it's delicious. And it's not just coffee. There's ashwagandha in there. There's all sorts of stuff for clarity. It's fantastic. I'm taking the Ultimate Gut Cleanse. It's human Drano. Everything's coming out. It's amazing. I'm losing weight because of that. Between that and the Ultimate Sea Moss with bladderwrack and burdock root gummies, and Survival Shield X2 is on sale 25% off, and this is the last batch at InfoWarsStore.com. I'm not even an affiliate, but It's a good deal on the X2. I was able to get it when it was $19.99. Now it's $29.99. But usually it's $39.99. And 2 drops of this a day. All the iodine you need. But also the sea moss has iodine as well. And you can have too much iodine. But if I eat 2 of these a day and 2 drops of that, nothing else has iodine. And the iodine in iodized salt is trash. So thealexstore.com/darkdox. The Daily Wire. Man, we never cover them, but they're the only ones that seem to cover this one. Man who received J6 pardon shot and killed during traffic stop. Matthew Huddle got into an altercation with a sheriff's deputy, according to authorities. A 42-year-old Indiana man who was pardoned by President Donald Trump last week after entering the U.S. Capitol building on January 6, 2021, was shot and killed in a traffic stop on Sunday afternoon. Matthew Huddle of Hobart, Indiana, allegedly resisted arrest and got into an altercation with Jasper County Sheriff's Department deputy. According to authorities, the Associated Press reported, Indiana State Police said that after Huddle was pulled over, an altercation took place between the suspect and the officer, which resulted in the officer firing his weapon and fatally wounding the suspect. Huddle was in possession of a firearm when he was pulled over, the state police said. Authorities did not say why Huddle was pulled over or what led to the confrontation. We need to see that body cam footage. The officer who shot Huddle had been placed on leave as authorities investigate the fatal shooting. We need to see that body cam footage. What is this? Yeah, this is kind of old, but we didn't cover it because we weren't on yet, but I wanted to throw this one in the bucket. Gay couple in U.S. get 100 years in prison for raping their adopted son. William and Zachary Zolak have each been sentenced to 100 years in prison without parole. A gay couple from Georgia will spend the rest of their lives in jail after they were convicted of sexually abusing their 2 adopted sons. The 2 accused, William and Zachary Zolak, had been sentenced to 100 years in prison without a chance of parole. The New York Post reported, quoting the Walton County District Attorney's Office. Look at these guys. Would you look at these guys and be like, yeah, sure, you can adopt these kids. Here you go. I wouldn't. Kiev Post. Lukoil refinery set ablaze by Ukraine's 100-plus drone barrage. I'm not even going to read this, but a link in description. Zelensky, he keep fucking around. You're going to find out. That's all I have to say. Prozac, one of 30 antidepressants probed by UK watchdog over links to suicide. This is an old report, but I wanted to put this in there because there was this woman yelling at RFK about the SSRIs. And what's up, Row Media? Crypt Rick, haven't seen you in a minute. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the chat. See, it says only 2 people in the chat, but how come 5 people are talking? Somebody's lying, YouTube. But yeah, so this chick was yelling at RFK Jr. And she was saying how she was like on SSRIs and they saved her life. And it's like, you're the one yelling. But yeah, these things can make you suicidal. They can make you homicidal. And something else that makes people homicidal. This COVID vax. Greatest crime against humanity. This is a John Bound report.
And this is exactly what we're trying to do. To start this project, we're calling it the Global Virome Project. And a group of us are trying to get this agenda and see if it's actually fundable. See if we can get countries to get behind it, get agencies to get behind it, the private sector to get behind it, and finally start to discover the total diversity of risky viruses on the planet. A lot of them won't come to anything, but some of them, hopefully, will be the next HIV and will stop them before they happen.
Fauci's right-hand man, Dr. Peter Daszak, sought DARPA's approval to release a deadly COVID virus into the wild. The Fauci-controlled project sought to target humans with, quote, skin-piercing nanoparticles to deliver chimeric weapons.
And did surveillance of bats across southern China. And we've now found, after 6 or 7 years of doing this, over 100 new SARS-related coronaviruses, very close to SARS. Some of them get into human cells in the lab. Some of them can cause SARS disease in humanized mouse models and are untreatable with therapeutic monoclonals, and you can't vaccinate against them with the vaccine. So these are a clear and present danger.
There's always the potential for bioterror. And we have a major biodefense research and development effort that spans agencies, from the NIH to do the basic research to be able to develop better vaccines. The worst bioterrorist is nature itself. Nature is very good at evolving microbes to create problems, much smarter than any terrorist. So what we've tried to do over the years is to use the expertise, the resources, to allow us to respond better to a deliberate affront or attack on us with a microbe of any type, engineered or what have you, to use that knowledge to better prepare us for what we know will happen. Instead of looking at it in two separate silos of biodefense for biological threats that are deliberate and countermeasures for naturally occurring, you should essentially pool the science so that you could do both.
There might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes.
So we really do have a problem of how the world perceives influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
But it is not too crazy to think that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere. We could get the RNA sequence from that, beam it to a number of regional centers, if not local, if not even in your home at some point.
I have been told by a lot of people that would have access to classified information, high-level people in the CIA say, no, we know it's really a global consortium, it's a synthetic nanovirus. And now the Pentagon and DARPA released the smoking gun on Fauci's ass, that he had Daszak come to them and say, we want to create this and secretly release it in China. And they said, are you crazy? The Chinese will nuke us, you maniacs.
Global deaths directly attributable to the vaccine, 20 million.
We have conservatively 20 million people they just murdered.
2 billion serious adverse reactions of the type I described.
And Fauci and Klaus Schwab and Peter Daszak and Bill Gates and Tedros, they're all still walking around. We've already had a bunch of their top people defect over and say, hey, I'm not with them, because they understand
New World Order?
How many scientists and researchers have gone public and that they're not going to hide this. And they knew the bigger agenda. They were supposed to keep us in the lockdown and control forever and release more viruses. It didn't go the way they wanted. Their plan failed. It backfired.
It will be known as the biggest crime ever committed on humanity.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, Infowars tells you the truth about what's happening.
That was a good little cut. These guys need to be held to account. They need to be held responsible. Speaking of people being held responsible, Biden judge halts Trump's federal grant funding freeze. This is Tyler Durden over at Zero Hedge on Tuesday. One day after Trump administration suspended grants, loads, and other financial assistance programs undergo a comprehensive review. A Biden-appointed judge temporarily blocked the pause. The U.S. Judge Lauren L. Kilcan, who was appointed by former President Joe Biden in 2022, issued an administration stay that lasts until Monday afternoon and only applies to existing programs, AP reported. So there's a little bit of pushback there, which was expected. This is from Richard Gage, and it has something to do with steel and 9/11. Let's take a look.
The steel in dragon-like lengths and contortions spoke for itself. Bent, deformed, without cracks.
I found it hard to believe that it actually...
I haven't gotten the strike yet for playing Infowars.
There's no cracks in the iron. It's bent without almost a single crack in it. It takes thousands of degrees to bend steel like this.
Typically, you'd have buckling and tearing on the tension side, but there's no buckling at all. There's no buckling at all.
And architects, engineers, people who work with steel, welders have just never seen the level of destruction and the level of deformation of this material in our lives.
Explosives also deform steel. As they fire, gas pushes outward. The force of the gas can easily bend a large steel column.
There you go. They should do more of those shorts. I like what they're doing there with those. Also from Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. Feds can't impinge on free speech, according to new Trump executive order. On January 20th, Donald J. Trump was sworn in for his second non-consecutive term to serve as President of the United States. Among many events he attended on that day of his inauguration was a rally at the Capitol One Arena in Washington, D.C. that concluded with the dramatic signing of several executive orders. This was followed by a flourish by Trump throwing the pins he used into the crowd cheering. Among the executive orders he signed, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. This has been mentioned but barely analyzed by the mainstream media. And they go into depth on this one. So definitely check that out. Oh, yeah, this. So I play this for you because apparently Texas police are investigating after a man used a 3-month-old baby to wipe snow off of the windshield of his car in a viral TikTok stunt. It's being a little rough with that kid. I don't know how that kid's neck is gonna... I mean, he's not crying. And I don't know. That's pretty borderline. I mean, is it like the craziest child abuse that I've ever seen? No. Is it advised to do such a thing as a parent? Probably not. Yeah. All right, we're getting towards the end of the show, guys. How about that? Look at that. It's 8:50. I'm getting good at this. Now we're on the shorts. Nick Fraz has a little clip here. Oh, what? Where's the audio?
When in reality, they're attempting to subvert it. So let me give you an example. Let's say Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth.
Audio issues.
Malicious compliance. That's a term we should all get used to because we're going to see a lot of it over the next 4 years. What malicious compliance is when somebody pretends to implement a policy when in reality they're attempting to subvert it. So let me give you an example. Let's say Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth say, you know what? We're not going to do all these DEI programs in the military anymore because it's not good for cohesion or effectiveness. And so somebody goes out there and says, okay, no problem. I'll just remove courses on the Tuskegee Airmen and women in World War II from Air Force basic training courses, right? That's a faithful execution. No, that's an attempt to subvert the process. You're trying to create a narrative probably to protect your mid-level bureaucratic job that wouldn't exist without such programs. Now, here's the real ironic part about this. The Tuskegee Airmen were victims of a government policy which elevated superficial characteristics above capability and character. You know, kind of like DEI. Malicious compliance. That's a term we should all get used to.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of malicious compliance. That's for sure. Hey, like my new Doge. Let's hear what Candace Owens has to say about me crying about, not me crying about Selena, but Selena Gomez and the whole deportation ordeal.
Those threats is this illegal alien.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
So again, for the people who have different politics from me that watch this show, maybe just for the culture element, when you hear that, when you hear someone that has a rap sheet and has 17 crimes have been committed, right? 17 in this country. And we are talking about violent crimes that have been committed. And he's just like, thank you, Biden. I love you and I hate Trump. How does that actually make you feel? Seriously. You know, these families, we're breaking up family. That guy right there, he might be a felon, but he's also a father. That seems to be the argument that I at least see being made all the time this year, breaking up families. And that argument in particular drives me insane because it's, guys, that's what happens when you break the law. Doesn't matter whether you're a citizen or you're not a citizen. If you break the law, okay, let's say you're just a random guy who shoots someone, you go to prison. You get separated from your family. That's a consequence. Actions sometimes have to meet their consequences. And, you know, that's on the parent to not do that to their child, not for society to say, well, you know, I know he killed 10 people, but we're not going to put him in prison because how unfair would it be for their child? I mean, that's nuts, right?
I don't think he did it. But you know what?
Beast. James Charles is a pedophile. I don't even know who this guy is, but this is what we do here on DarkDox. We dox the dark pedophiles. So here's this young lady. By the way, what they're doing to Brett, you know, trying to throw her, you know, name in the mud and stuff, like, leave that girl alone. She's a talented, funny young girl, and she makes great content, and I hope she does very well on her own. You don't need those fucking guys.
YouTuber. I think he blew up in the early 2010s and then was like big 2014, 2015, I would say. He is very flamboyant. He starts off every video with like, hey, sisters.
Hi, sisters.
A few years ago, videos started going around on social media accusing him of acting inappropriately with minor fans. But these were not just rumors. These young men had videos and screenshots. These boys were 16 and 15, respectively. And when all of this went public, James Charles freaked out and said that all of these young men, because there were more than just two, said that all these young men had lied about their age to him. And one of them admitted that he did lie about his age. He was 16. He said that he was 18 and he privately apologized to James and said that he wanted attention. But the other, in this video, said that he never lied about his age. He told James that he was 15 years old, and James was still sending him Snapchats, messages on Instagram, on Snapchat. How does this man still have a platform? James Charles is a makeup YouTuber. I think he blew up.
Sorry, I was just reading the comments. We got our first troll after on our fourth week. We have a troll. That's I want more trolls. Invite all of your troll friends, because then we'll have traffic, and that'll make my ego bigger. And this is the end of the show, guys. How about that? Happy Wednesday to all of you. Please, if you're not already subscribed on Rumble /DarkDox or BitChute /DarkDox, buy me a chicken dinner. Cash.app /DarkDox. And we already did that. And, oh, this just came in. Alex Jones, I've been invited to the White House next week. Yeah, you should go to the White House. That would be fun. Alex Jones for press secretary? Oh, man. Well, it's that time again to come from the universe all the way down back to Earth and come back to SeaWorld at the Sky Tower here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Christian Coffins, reminding you to once more beware and take care. Bye-bye.
I would like to give a big shout out to Greg Fernandez Jr., Data Battle Z, Rise of the New World Order, and everybody in the DarkDox Network. I'm your host, Christian Coffins. Great night. Like and subscribe!